Remember to connect with, what is the work that really sets your heart on fire that you would do so readily and easily, that is so natural for you that you would practically do it for free. That's the work that you could be doing in the world. And it's easy to monetize off the back of that because good service is always rewarded later down the line with monetary gain. But you got to start with the stuff of the heart, because that's where your sustainability, your longevity is. That's how we avoid burnout, is by doing the right work and really falling in love with your work again. Today's reminder is about laboring with love and getting back in touch with the love of service.
Welcome to the Worth It podcast. I'm Megan Taylor, coach for the brilliant minds and the rare ones who are always growing. I have helped ambitious women and men, business owners and leaders from around the world with defining and expanding their unique work, having the relationship that they actually want, and creating the life that makes all of the work feel worth it. Every week on the podcast, we discuss the key pivots that I coach my clients on and the real work required in order to be a leader and the woman or the man that you're here to be. With that, let's get started.
Hi guys. We are walking and talking today because I am tired. I am tired. Baby is in baby's final growth sprint and is just draining all of my battery juice. And I wanted to sit down and record the podcast, but just wasn't working. And so it's like sometimes you just can't force it. You got to move the energy. So here we are. We're going to take a walk in the neighborhood. It's a gorgeous sunny day out here in Idaho. Today I want to talk about laboring with love, which is kind of a joke about pregnancy because I'm going to be in labor soon, but also because I talk to so many people who struggle with burnout. And, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, the interview with Athena, but it really struck my heart listening to her talking about her passion for her work in terms of changing the way things are done for moms and babies and a more holistic approach. And, she doesn't do it for the money. She does it because as a pediatrician, as a practitioner, she knows it's the right thing to do and because she cares. And it's been interesting being a mama, going through this experience myself as a patient, navigating the healthcare system. And I had this experience I want to tell you about. I had this check-in with a perinatologist who, because of my age and various things, was concerned about the pregnancy. And baby is fine, so it's no worries. But the way that the information was presented in terms of presenting the risks and stuff like that it was very numbers based. It was very factual. And the way that the information was presented put the worst case scenario in the front. This has everything to do with how information is presented. It's like when you watch those ads for like different drugs that you can take and you're like, you should take this drug because it's going to help you lose weight. But just so you know, your colon's going to fall out, or the likelihood of your colon falling out is XYZ%. And you're like, oh my God, that sounds kind of intense. And it was something like that, where like the risks were really up in my face and it really scared me. He's like, this is nothing. Wait till you send your kid to their first day of school. That's the hard part. I've been thinking a lot about what makes somebody treat somebody so with so little compassion. And I've been thinking about what it's been like to be a part of the coaching industry for the last almost 7 years. Yeah, 7 years now, because tomorrow is the 7-year anniversary of the formation of Megan Taylor LLC. So I'm celebrating 7 years in business. When I first started my business, it was born out of pure passion and compassion for my clients' lives, for helping people connect to their purpose, to feel confident, and to heal and follow the places where their soul was calling them. And over time, that evolved. And, it's interesting because when I first started my coaching business, I had success right off the bat. I'm a businesswoman naturally. I've been running businesses for a very long time. With my experience in corporate, I know how to provide good service. Beyond that, I'm a woman with solid values. However, the thing that messed me up a bit and got me off course at times was actually participating in the coaching industry, learning all the different strategies for how to do things. And it got me a lot more focused on doing things a particular way, doing things the right way, watching the numbers. It's not that I ever stopped caring about the people, but sometimes when you get into your craft and you get into building a business or your career for so long, we can lose sight at times of the original why. And I think that's what happens, to folks in healthcare as well, who they're so smart and they look at numbers all day and they rinse, repeat, and they run different patients through the same process. And then they start treating patients like numbers. And I think that that's what happened for me last Friday. Was this man was not available for whatever reason for having compassion and being connected to his heart when he was with me about my experience with my baby and with my husband. And it was really alarming. And so this is an invitation for you to ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing in your work? Are you so focused on the numbers that you've disconnected from your why? Because that's what causes burnout. For the one who loves to work, for the one who feels good about putting in a good day's labor, the question is there still love in your labor? Or are you just doing it because you're on autopilot and you've been doing it for so long? I'm going to tell you one other story, which was a few weeks ago. There's this woman that's been posting on Facebook in our community. She's older. I can't remember. She's in her 60s or her 70s. And she was posting about how she's been looking for a job for basically since January. And it's really frustrating. It's a hard market out there right now. I posted something compassionate to her and I gave her some advice. And you know what? She replied back and she said, I've received a lot of advice. I don't need more advice. What I need is a job. And I was like, I don't have a job to give you, So I'm giving you what I have, which is advice. And good advice has gotten me through hard times in the past. But there was something about what she said, and I talked to my husband about it. I said, this is what happened. And he said, I wish we were in a place that we could do more, which in part it just has to do with the fact that we're just in a spot right now where, we're preparing for baby and we've just got a lot going on. But when he said that, I was like, you know what? Me too. I wish I could do more too. And so I did. I got on the job search hunt. I went on Indeed and I searched terms that were in alignment with the work that she was looking for, the benefits she was looking for, the part-time hours she wanted. And I found something that was a good fit for her and I sent it over. Then I sat on it on another day, for another day. She said, great news. I found something that's bringing in some cash. And she was splitting her job, her work across a few different avenues of bringing in wealth. And she said, okay, the question now is, how much time do I spend on each money avenue so that I can get what I'm looking for in terms of benefits, number of hours, and loving the work that I'm doing? And that's one of my favorite riddles to solve. And so I took about 30 minutes and I dug in and I wrote up a whole job search coaching plan for her. And I said, this is what you need to do. You need to evaluate across these points, how much money it makes, how many hours it takes, how much do you love it, looking at your skill levels. And here's how I would set up your week so that you can work these different income streams to bring in the money that you're looking to bring in. And I told her exactly what to do. And she said, oh my gosh, your clients are so lucky because this is what real help looks like. This is, you need somebody to grab you by the shoulders and point you in a direction and say, go. And that was the help she needed, Sometimes the initial help that we want to offer somebody, we have to try again, and we get an opportunity to do that. And we have to stay humble as service providers and ask, is what I'm doing actually helping? Because sometimes you think it's like that doctor thought that, well, by providing the protocol and outlining the risks, that was the service that was needed. That's his job. But you know what? He had a distraught mother come out of that appointment. And I'm grateful for it because it made me kind of like wake up to getting into my power and more like get into my power and what I do have control over in regards to navigating the medical system, as I am going to be giving birth soon. And I'm grateful for that because he wasn't looking out for me. I had to look out for me, and that's a gift in and of itself. But he could have asked, do you have any questions? Like, how else can I help you? And we have to stay humble. And I'm telling you, like, getting humble to the fact that my initial way of supporting that woman did not help her, and being forced to look deeper at what else I could give was the biggest gift to her and to me. And it had nothing to do with the money. And yet when we get reconnected to the humanity of how we can truly help people and be of service, like, that's what puts fuel in your veins. At least it's what puts fuel in mine. So I would ask yourself, who can you serve today? How can you innovate and get creative to show up in an even bigger way for the people around you? And if you're like, well, Megan, I'm always giving to other people. I get that because I work with a lot of givers who also need to focus on themselves. But a part of focusing on self is being in service in a way that gives back to you too. And I just want to remind you that it's not just the money that fuels you. It's not just showing up and ticking the box of going to work. It's about how you do it. It's about how you serve. It's about who you're being, whether you're feeling good about how you're showing up on a day-to-day basis. That's what keeps you from burning out, is being connected in here to the work that you're doing, the people that you're serving, and staying humble and knowing that it's okay to work hard. You just want to make sure that you're working hard doing the right work. And if you want to talk about whether you're doing the right work, reach out to me. I love helping you answer that question. We can talk about, I have group ways of working with me and one-on-one ways of working with me as well, where I help you uncover the most deeply fulfilling work for you. You can look at Athena's podcast interview to see how she needed to shift her focus in her work and make a bigger impact and be more visible and serve in a bigger way. And that was what helped her uncover the passion that she was searching for. And she's on her road to freedom around that in terms of her impact, her expression, connecting into a broader community, and also finding a voice inside of her relationships. So all of these things are interconnected. So just remember, your labor is meant to be full of love. And baby's labor is going to be full of love too. That's the thing that makes it worth it, is when you're connected to your own humanity and the humanity of others and the ways that you're here to serve. And sometimes that looks like volunteering, and I appreciate the opportunity to give my work away for free. And I do that, online with my posts and stuff, but I don't often coach people for free. And it felt really good to do that. I haven't done that, since the beginning of my business 7 years ago, and it felt really good. I mean, I do that with, friends or, here and there, but building out a whole business plan isn't something I normally do, but it felt really good. And so Sometimes we need to get back to basics, the basics of service, the basics of humility and staying humble and recognizing how good it feels to give and not making yourself wrong for that. So I'll leave you with that. Remember to connect with, what is the work that really sets your heart on fire that you would do so readily and easily, that is so natural for you that you would practically do it for free. That's the work that you could be doing in the world. And it's easy to monetize off the back of that because good service is always rewarded later down the line with monetary gain. But you got to start with the stuff of the heart, because that's where your sustainability, your longevity is. And that's how we avoid burnout, is by doing the right work and really falling in love with your work again. And then when everything opens and becomes easier, then we build strategies on top of that, for how do we expand your reach, and the money always follows too, so you don't have to worry about that. But today's reminder is about laboring with love and getting back in touch with the love of service. So yeah, I would love to hear more about what you thought about today's episode. Please find me on Instagram at Megan W. Taylor, tag me, and I would love to hear, what really stood out to you from today's episode. And I love to reshare the posts for my listeners. So thanks for being a listener. Please leave a 5-star review, and I will see you on the next episode.
Hi, lovely. Really quick before you go, it would mean the absolute world to me if you found value in today's episode, if you would take a minute to leave a 5-star review for the podcast. This is going to help other powerhouses like you to be able to find it. Also, I love interacting with my listeners, so I would love to know more about what you thought about today's episode. If you take a screenshot and share it to your Instagram stories and tag at Megan W. Taylor, it's going to notify me, and I actually love to reshare your posts with my audience as well. With that, thank